Hey guys, it's Katie from Katie Makes. Some of you know that I've been struggling hard with my serger. I think it's finally died on me, and I started looking at what serger I wanted to invest in next because I have to have one. But I found there were a lot of guides for beginner serger or overlock stitch machine users, and I'm a little more advanced and ready for those bells and whistles. So I decided to make my own guide and criteria in helping choose a new one. So my current machine is a Brother 1034. It makes a beautiful stitch, but I've had it for a long time. Replaced the motor, stripped out the needle plates. It is ready to go. When I was looking for a new machine, I really wanted to focus on things that are quantifiable so I don't end up making an emotional decision. So I'm looking at power, speed, pressure foot rise, because I do work with a lot of thicker fabrics in the costuming side of things, and ease of use. This is a hard thing to define, so I came up with those criteria on the left to kind of check the boxes. You know, does it come with accessory feet? Can it do a cover lock stitch? And how easy is it to thread? So my top 3 finalists over just doing some basic research is the Husqvarna Amber Air 400, the Baby Lock Victory, which I've heard a lot about, and the Jaguar Overlocker Advanced. Honestly chose that one because it had advanced in the name, and I thought that's exactly what I'm looking for. Unfortunately, that is a British machine, and I am not ready to be doing power conversions in my sewing room. So instead I decided to include the Juki 1000. Juki's got a really great name in sergers, so I wanted to include them on the list. First, an overview, nice big picture of each machine, and the highlights that they highlight on their own website. So this is what the machine makers think is great about their machine. So the Amber Air 400 has threading loopers, and let me tell you, that is great. Anyone who has sat there with a pair of tweezers and scissors yelling at their machine knows that the ability to push a button and have it threaded is basically magic. Also has several stitch options and differential feed. Now, what I thought was weird is each of the machines listed that among their main features, but I've never seen a serger that didn't have the ability to adjust the differential feed. So please let me know in the comments, is this something that I'm missing or something that is a special feature and I've just never noticed? The next up was the Baby Lock Victory, also an air threader, and it boasts internal tension adjustments based on readings from the machine. And I gotta tell you, I don't know how I feel about that. I like being able to fine tune things myself, so I'm not sure if that would be a bonus or a negative for me. Also, it weirdly doesn't come with a scrap bin. That's an optional accessory you can buy. The last one was the Juki 1000. It has a lot of the same benefits as the other two on the surface, but it really does have a nice wide throat. That's the space between the needle plate and kind of the top of the machine. So if you're shoving some fatter fabric through, you have a little more room on this machine, apparently. So how do they stack up? So the Amber Air isn't quite as fast as some of the others, has a great pressure foot rise, and it is air threaded, which is huge. The Baby Lock Victory goes a little faster. I can shove less fabric underneath there. It has an amazing manual. I was really appreciative online. You can get a PDF of their manual, and it really talks about how sergers work, which I think is something that a lot of people don't think about, and it would help them adjust their stitching and tension if they did understand that. And the Juki. So by far the biggest pressure rise, also air threaded. All of these were air threaded as it turns out. And kind of in the middle of the road for a price. So when I got to this point, I was kind of looking at the Amber Air because it's the less expensive MSRP, and it seems to have a lot of the same features that the other two machines do. And in researching that, I discovered the Amber Air 600, which is actually a combination overlock and cover lock machine. That means that it does that bottom of the t-shirt stitch where it finishes and folds it up with a twin needle look. Normally, I would never consider a machine this expensive, but my grandmother, who taught my mom to sew and sewed mini dresses for me, passed not too long ago and left me some money to improve my life. And she bought me my first serger. And I really feel like she would have approved of me getting a nice serger for myself. So I will be going with the Amber Air 600 with the cover lock. It's got electronic air. It's got a knee pedal for you to lift the presser foot up. It's really amazing, and I will do a full video on just that machine. But before we finish up, I wanted to talk about the difference between a serger and an overlock machine as far as what the stitch capability is. So a lot of these stitches I've listed on the chart have both a narrow and wide version. But you can see that there are a few that the Amber Air 400 can't do that the cover lock can do, and a lot of that is just because of needle positioning. On a cover lock machine, you have a set of 3 needles in the front and 2 kind of in the back. So you have a wider range of what you can manage on a cover lock, including these safety stitches, which are really cool and I think will produce a cleaner, prettier seam line when they're done. And of course, the cover stitch itself is huge. So stay tuned for the next video, kind of outlining what the Amber Air 600 can do. And thank you so much for joining.